Welcome to the LowLife podcast. I'm back again with my homie Dennis.
How y'all doing?
It's been a while. We apologize. I know we say that like every year. So,
We stay busy.
yeah, I'm sorry. Our schedules are just like that. But yeah, we're back again. A lot's going on. There was just no way I couldn't do a podcast this time around.
I think it's a good time to
yeah,
make another one.
a lot going on. The Israel-Palestine situation, elections coming up, basketball, all kinds of shit.
Seems like the world's in even more turmoil than since we last recorded our episode, honestly.
It's crazy to even say that because like it's gradually getting there. Like I know everybody's talking about World War III and all, but you don't know, man. We're in like a Cold War of sorts, between multiple countries, and it's weird.
If anything was to start it, like this would be kind of, especially with the races that we have involved in this particular scenario, just because they don't get along very well.
It's to me, it's very reminiscent of World War One. All these proxy wars where we have alliances and funding and indirect combat. Let's say Russia's support and Iran are supporting the Palestinians, whereas the Americans are supporting the Israelis, and it's like they're going to war with each other in Cold War tactic kind of way, where they can really go at each other without directly attacking each other. And also the Saudis and the Iranis are going at a Middle Eastern Cold War that's been going on forever. Really odd. Like, it's very odd to see from the outside looking in. I feel like me and you have a unique perspective. Both our peoples have dealt with genocide in the last 50 years or so, very horrible genocides. Yours probably a lot worse, let's be honest. But
not a good thing.
Not a good thing. It's not a flex. But it is definitely like a thing that we're aware of and understand what comes from it,
We understand, the repercussions.
And I kind of find it odd when people try to tell me I don't understand that this is a genocide. And I've talked to my parents and my grandparents. I know what a genocide is, like straight up. And it's like we're in this like little gray area where we have to watch what we say because like we're
in such a sensitive time right now.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I get anti-Semitism is a very, very real thing, and that's something I do want to call out. Like, it is a bad thing within, I'd say, the Muslim world and the Christian world as a whole. Like, anti-Semitism has been around for about 1,000+ years. Started with the Romans, then the Christians, then it's been around. Like, I'm not going to sit here and try to deny it. Like, if that didn't exist, 6 million Jews would be here today, if you will. It's just, it's a real gray area when you try to, I guess, attack a group that's been killed so recently.
Yeah.
But I feel like that has been used as an excuse to allow them to perform a genocide, another Holocaust, if you will, on another group.
Yeah, I've seen too many scenarios where someone would bring up a good point against, like what like Israel's doing, for example, and someone will immediately say, like, oh, you're being anti-Semitic. It's like, I mean, we got to have a conversation without, you know what I mean? Just because we're having a conversation, but it doesn't mean
it doesn't mean you're absolved of all crimes. You know what I mean? Like, these are very much, by definition, UN Geneva Convention say these are war crimes. Like, if Nuremberg were to happen today, all of these people would be executed. Like, if we go back and we redo World War II and all those people that got convicted for these crimes during World War II, the Germans, it really wasn't that different from what's happening now. Like, you got to look at Palestine, Gaza. Gaza's a very small area of land. I was looking into it earlier this morning. Like, how big is Gaza actually? 25 miles across.
That is, wow.
25 miles. 141 miles total. But
like
wide. 25 miles wide, and that's the size of, that's twice the size of DC, about the size of Manhattan.
Yeah.
So, Dennis, let me hit you with this. If there's some terrorists in New York, do I have the go-ahead to kill all of them? Like, by that logic, is all I'm saying.
Hell no.
Right? Like, that's very simple.
You don't know where I mean, they're in New York, but you don't
know where they are.
Where New York?
I can't just kill a bunch of civilians and say, well, there was a terrorist there. And that's the issue I have with the U.S., because the U.S. drone program was the same fucking thing. The human shields, they're used. These aren't collective armies that are organized, that are funded properly. These are very much, I guess, like guerrilla warfare tactics. You know, Hamas isn't this like fucking sophisticated, advanced army. They are more or less guerrilla fighter terrorists. They are terrorists. Don't get it twisted. Hamas is a terrorist group. And that's where
Hamas, I agree with the narrative that Hamas should not be around. Like they are not the ones that are the good guys, right? But the innocent Palestinian people. I mean, okay. First of all, let me ask this. Do you know? Because I don't.
Yeah.
Do you know the percentage of population in Gaza that are children?
It is roughly the median age in Gaza is 18 years old.
That's insane, bro.
And I don't know the exact percentage of how much. I know a majority of them are teenagers and young adults. You know, the median age in Gaza is between 18 to 24 years old.
Yeah, it's a young place.
Yeah, in about young people there. In about a month of, I guess, genocide, 10,000 people. It just hit the 10,000 people mark, I think, yesterday.
Dude, that's a lot of fun.
And how much of those people were under the age of 24? 41%. I think about 4,106, something like that.
Yeah,
some crazy
like that.
Literal children, bro. And
I don't know how you can justify that, personally.
You can, you know, and you can use the human shield. And this is what I was getting at. The human shield thing, like the Obama administration used this, like their collateral damage, these dehumanizing terms, they're human shields, you know, they're not actual people with families and mothers and loved ones. Right. They dehumanize it in a sense where it justifies it, you know, it makes us feel a little better about it. You know what I mean? And these aren't organized groups. These aren't, of course, they might hide some weapons within houses that have children in them because there's no set base. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't have a fucking base of operation that
that's where the gray area starts, because Israel will use that as a tactic of saying, you know, we don't know where they are. We know they're in this general area. And I read this crazy thing. It might not be exactly accurate at this point in time that I'm recording this, but it was last week I read it. In the month that this has been going on, how many Hamas fighters do you think have been killed, Dennis? Out of the 10,000.
Like out of the 10,000 people that they killed?
Yeah, give me a rough estimate of what you think it is.
Dude, I want to say like 100 Hamas soldiers.
18 Hamas soldiers.
18. Confirmed. That's like, I honestly said 100, but I expected less, bro.
You know, it's at what point is that justified? And if you really wanted to, I guess, take out Hamas, literally, like just go in there, you go in on the ground, bro. You don't do these bombings.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Like, it doesn't make sense. It's just, so I want you to think about this logically, Dennis. Your mother that loves you more than anything in the world would die for you. Would hate, okay, the Serbians and Bosnians, okay? Your mother hated the Serbians so much, but loves you so much, but would still use you as a human shield to protect mercenaries. Does that logically make sense?
No, it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. If you are a normal human being.
No.
And it's this type of rhetoric and, I guess, dehumanization of the Palestinians, and that led to the Holocaust that killed 6 million Jews. It's these type of, like, I guess, tactics that really takes the humanity out of people and causes them to, I guess, in a sense, not become animals to you. Like these aren't people.
I mean, if they didn't have this type of narrative or story, then they wouldn't be able to live with themselves. Like, this is what they're doing to sleep at night.
Like, I saw a video of Netanyahu saying Hitler caused the Holocaust because the Arabs wouldn't take in the Jews. Hitler originally wanted to expel the Jews, not kill them, which is just incorrect. It's not true. You know, Hitler was very much wanting to kill Jews. So much to a point that Hitler, after Stalingrad and the turning point of the World War II, instead of putting energy into his troops and, you know, turning around the war, he put more energy. He actually started killing more Jews. He actually fucking put more, I guess, resources into killing these Jews in these concentration camps because he hated them that bad.
I mean, bro, his camps were like crazy. You know how much like time and money
Yeah, you
You know what I
you
mean?
need soldiers there. You need to kill them.
And it's a
You need,
huge space. These are huge spaces.
and it wasn't like they just killed them.
Yeah.
They slowly tortured
Yeah.
them to death. You
I
know
mean,
what I
these
mean?
people were barely alive.
Yeah, they were eating grass to the point that there was no more grass around.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the Jewish plight. No, I wouldn't say I understand it.
Mhm.
Like, obviously, I don't mean in that sense. I mean, I understand the anger and you're being anti-Semitic. Like, I understand it, but not when it's justifying you doing the same thing to
Mhm.
another group of people. Most Orthodox Jews don't even agree with the state of Israel.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, a lot of people.
Because
Yeah.
they think it's against their religion. But the thing is, Judaism, in the modern sense, you got to understand that, like I told you before we started recording, they're 1% of the population. A majority of them identify as Jewish ethnically, not necessarily religiously.
Mhm.
They don't sit around and follow the Talmud and the Torah, and they don't necessarily live by it.
Mhm.
It is allegorical, account of their history, if you will. They don't take it literally. A majority of them, I'm not saying all of them. The Orthodox Jews believe that they can't have a state until the Messiah comes and gives them a place.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? That's their belief.
Mhm.
Christians, the reason why so many American Christians, especially evangelical Christians, support the state of Israel is because they believe once the Jews officially take over Israel, that Jesus will come back.
Oh.
But what a lot of Jews don't know in that is, by biblical accounts, canonically, they say 2/3 of those Jews will be demolished and killed.
Really?
Yeah. And obviously, right now, it's convenient that they
Oh.
support you, but you gotta understand they have a genocidal tendency behind all that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
A lot of them don't even know this. They just know that Jesus will come back if they take over, and it's a very nuanced situation, but it's not in a sense. It is very simple to understand the Palestinian plight, if you will, but when it becomes nuanced is when all these third party factors come in, all this funding from the U.S. And it's.
I mean, why do you? The only reason the U.S. is so involved, man, is because we need an ally in the Middle East, and Israel has always been that guy.
That's just
for
one of
us.
the many reasons. On top of that, you know what I mean?
I mean, I'm just saying. I feel like the U.S. wouldn't support this if we didn't have so many things tied in with Israel.
Exactly.
We
And that's
wouldn't
the thing.
support them bombing, killing innocent. I don't know. Maybe Obama would, but like this type of shit, man, is not something I feel like we would accept if we didn't have so much stuff like oil and just as far as like Israel is a very strong position in the Middle East.
Yeah, and the situation with the Middle East is 99.9% of Europe and America's fault. The
Yeah.
Iraq invasion, the night of 9/11, there was this guy named Paul Wolfowitz. He, fuck him. I hope he burns in hell eternally. There's a hell. The night of 9/11, Bush had no idea what to do. We got attacked by these terrorists that live in caves in Afghanistan.
Mhm.
Is there any realistic way we can attack them back, I guess, efficiently?
Mhm.
There's no way to possibly do that. And Wolfowitz is sitting there, and they're in Camp David the night of 9/11. Bush has no idea what to do. No idea. How do I retaliate? What do I do? Wolfowitz throws out this idea that the head of this verbatim, he said this: Saddam Hussein is the head of the snake of global domestic terrorism, which makes no sense at all. He very clearly wasn't.
Mhm.
But everybody in the meeting is just looking at him like, what the fuck? All right, I guess. And what happened was later on.
Where's Camp David?
Camp David's right outside of D.C. It's this
okay.
retreat that the president goes to
Okay.
in times of emergency. And basically what happened was Wolfowitz waited till the meeting was over, and Bush was sitting there alone by the fire. And he was thinking, like, what the fuck do I do? And Wolfowitz came buddy with Bush, and he's whispering in his ear. He's like, listen, there's three parts of Iraq. There's the Kurds, who don't support Saddam Hussein any way whatsoever. There's a genocide against him he's committing. And there's the Shia Muslims in the southern part of Iraq. What Wolfowitz said, another thing he said verbatim, is by the end of it, if we wanted to, we can take the southern oil fields that the Shias live around. They'll support the U.S., coming in and take it because they don't fuck with Saddam. Saddam's a Sunni Muslim, by, I guess you can label him that. He isn't necessarily really a Sunni Muslim.
Yeah.
But the Kurds, have the other oil fields up north near Kirkuk and Mosul and all that. What Wolfowitz wanted, he said by the end of it, verbatim, he said Saddam will be the mayor of Baghdad, meaning that's where his jurisdiction will end.
Okay.
He will be the mayor of Baghdad.
Uh-huh.
That's all he's got to him.
Yeah.
Basically, what the U.S. wanted was to come in and not just take the oil, but instill a democracy of some sort, like this proxy government where they control everything, and Saddam's out. Because Saddam was very pro-Palestine. He was very pro-Arab. He was, in a sense, not for American interests.
Yeah, he was very nationalistic.
Yeah,
He didn't
and-
want
yeah.
foreign
He wanted to
countries.
unite all Arabs, is what the Ba'ath Party was
Yeah, like the Middle
big
East.
on. Yeah, so Wolfowitz convinces Bush of this and is thinking, all right, this is, I guess, the moment of triumph for Bush. Like he wants to take down Iraq and just within a month or so come out. I don't know if you've seen the video of him coming out on the U.S. Navy ship, and it says "Mission accomplished" right behind him.
Really?
And I like to think that Bush, when he was sitting there with Wolfowitz, this is what he was dreaming about. He gets to come out and give a patriotic fucking speech about mission accomplished, not necessarily realizing I just fucked everything up beyond repair.
Yeah.
I took out the Iraqi government, and not only took them out, the generals and politicians who were very powerful in Iraq, they lost their jobs. They're highly trained military men. Iraq had the third or fourth biggest army in the world
Really?
at the time, so they were very powerful.
Yeah.
And what did these dudes do? They joined rebel groups.
Mm-hmm.
They're in jail with who? Terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
And they organize, and this eventually becomes the Islamic State
Mm-hmm.
of Iraq and Syria.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is how ISIS was made, through U.S. intervention. And how did Hamas? I was circling back to Hamas. Hamas is a branch of Ikhwan al-Muslimin in Egypt, Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
They want a theocratic government, which isn't really reasonable with the high population of Christian Palestinians and the Jews living there.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably not going to be peaceful with other branches of the religion.
That's a religious.
They're a religious theocratic group that want the government to be run strictly by the Quran and Sunnah,
Okay.
which in modern times is very hard to do logically. You know what I mean? They are very much, I will say Hamas is just as much responsible. Let me not say just as much. They're pretty damn responsible for the blood of the Palestinian children being shed right now, because what they did on October 7th, they knew this was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
They knew this was going to happen. Like, they knew Israel always over retaliates, always takes out civilians. So they took this risk knowing this would happen. They took innocent women and children and tried to murder them. They killed Israeli commanders, and they knew this was going to happen, and they still did it.
And he dropped in that concert or whatever, right?
Yeah,
That was crazy.
they on paragliders. That shit was crazy.
That was
for real.
crazy. I saw some videos of that.
And the thing is, there's no reasonable way with the amount of funding we give Israel they didn't know about. There's no possible. And there's reports that Egypt told them a week beforehand. This has been going on for a year. And sorry, I'm rambling. I'm just trying to shoot out all the information I can about the situation. There's also some proof that, obviously not verified, but very likely, Iran came out and said it, at least, if that's proof enough. They funded this through $6 billion sent by the U.S. to release U.S. hostages.
Didn't we send money to Iran and then we took it back apparently? Or something?
We didn't take it back. The Biden administration gave Iran $6 billion to release U.S. hostages they had. And, they used that to fund Hamas in this attack. And, there's this thing called the Abraham Accord between Abrahamic faiths, if you will, the countries with Abrahamic faiths. There's Sudan involved, there's Morocco involved, there's the UAE, Bahrain, and Israel. And they all signed a thing where they recognize Israel as a state, allow trades, lift sanctions off of the state of Israel. Morocco got, I think, the sub-Saharan part of Africa that they've been wanting for so long. Sudan got their debt forgiven. So they all got something out of it. Recently, before this happened on October 7th, the Saudi Arabian government were thinking about joining the Abraham Accords.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm no political scientist. This is just things I've connected, and the Cold War between the Shias and the Sunnis, the Irani state and the Saudi Arabian state. Iranis represent the Shia state, if you will, and the Saudi Arabians represent Sunnis.
Mm-hmm.
They really don't.
Majority
But
of
in
Muslims
the
are
Sunni,
Sunni.
I think 90% of Muslims are Sunni.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these two governments are the most, I guess, powerful, if you will, and they both are Sunni and one's Shia,
Hmm.
so they don't really fuck with each other. How does it look when you're Saudi Arabia and you're about to sign an agreement with a country that is literally committing mass genocide on Sunni Muslims and the Shias are funding and backing them? How does that make Saudi Arabia look? It put them in this weird corner where they couldn't necessarily sign the Abraham Accords anymore because they would look horrible to the rest of the Muslim world and lose face.
Yeah.
So Iran put them in this genius tactic that Iran came up with to put them in a corner and cut off any business and sanctions that they could have had on Israel. Like literally just cut Saudi Arabia's legs from under them. Like it's crazy. Like it's these little fucking
And
chess
Saudi
moves.
Arabia is like part of the UAE.
No,
That's separate.
they're separate, but they there's this thing called the oil. They're like oil conglomerates in the
Well,
Middle East.
doesn't
They're
the
a group.
UAE own like 20-30% of the world's oil?
I'm not sure on the exact
Something like
numbers.
that.
Probably you're probably right. I haven't looked into how much they own, but they definitely,
Fuck ton.
yeah, probably. You know, and
Well, no, because one of the princes or the whatever they're called, one of the dudes that run, I think the UAE, he was like, "I'll cut off the world's oil supply if they don't cease fire."
yeah, I mean,
If I don't know if
I
you saw
believe
that.
it. You know, I believe it's powerful. But the problem with the Middle East is it isn't necessarily oil isn't hard to come by,
Not over there.
but not even here.
Well,
A lot of the
I
oil,
guess.
I think 40% of our oil comes from Canada,
Canada, and I'm pretty sure there's some shit in
Alaska,
Mexico,
in Mexico, all these places.
something like that. Yeah.
And the thing
Well,
is,
there's nothing in the states, is what I'm saying. Not really.
you know what the problem is with that though is that's taxable.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, UAE, taxes don't exist.
Yeah. There's
You
no
know,
taxes.
and I'm able to fund a construction company to open my oil like company over there. That's how Osama bin Laden's father became so rich.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's literally like an Arab billionaire because he owns these companies this construction company that creates, I guess, oil fields for the Americans. Osama became radicalized because he was just looking into it. He's like, wait, this is fucked. You know, it's crazy because the rest of Osama bin Laden's family are completely normal people.
Really?
Yeah, then there's him who just became fucking batshit crazy.
Yeah,
You know?
radicalized.
So like, it's these little fucking seeds that are sprouted throughout the Middle East that cause all these conflicts. But the West will turn around, and look, they're barbarians. You know, and this term barbarian, they're animals. They're not normal people. It's what really dehumanizes them. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Like the Romans would call, the Greeks. Sorry, the Greeks would call other people from outside lands barbers,
Mm-hmm.
meaning, you know why? Because that's how they sounded to them. They were speaking another language, bar. That's how they
Yeah,
sounded.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy, and that's how they dehumanize them. They can go into Carthage, kill everybody, and throw salt all over their land to make the place.
That's fucked.
Is that not crazy? That's what the Romans did to Carthage, and that's completely understandable in those days. You know, within that context, those tactics are still around
For sure.
because it's just in the modern sense of you.
I mean, just saying human shields. That's basically a modernized version of.
Yeah, and another thing that the average U.S. citizen doesn't understand is why wars are profitable. We live in,
America loves getting involved in everything. Any war.
you know why though? Because we live in a free market
Mm-hmm.
economy, and these, I guess, groups can create. I guess they can. The U.S. doesn't want to. Not that they don't want to. We're able to hire outside third-party groups to create weapons and Black Hawks, like Lockheed Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Black Hawk is another group that killed 14 civilians in Iran and injured 22 just for
really?
the fuck of it. A few of them went to jail for it, but like they very much cause war crimes and all that. But you know why they're so funded? Let's say I need a road built in Afghanistan for the troops. I'll bid out to whoever wants to do it, and whoever wants it for the X amount of dollars, I'll give it to them out of tax money, U.S. tax money. But at the time of war, there's no such thing as bidding. Hey, trying to build a road. Whoever wants it here. How much money you want? Boom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Who wants to give food to the soldiers? Boom. They don't give a fuck. They just
Uh-huh.
throw fucking tax money at these people. And what do these politicians do? they buy stocks in these in
Mm-hmm.
Lockheed Martin. They buy X amount of stocks, and wartime comes around and it's time to vote. Do you guys want to go to war? And these politicians logically are gonna want to
Let's
go to
go.
war. They're
My
gonna get a
money.
bunch of US war dollars
Uh-huh.
into a company that they already invested in. So they'll be making millions, you know? And it's crazy that that's allowed. And when you ask these politicians, like, oh, it's a free market, we're allowed to do that. You know what I mean? And it blows my fucking mind. Like, how is that even allowed? You
Yeah,
know?
bro.
And they do it openly. Nobody
That's
gives a
daylight
fuck.
robbery.
Yeah, like, and that's a US
No shame.
tax dollar.
Yeah.
Me and you can't
Our
go to the
money.
hospital without getting charged an arm and a leg.
Yeah, bro.
But these motherfuckers are making millions
And
off
waiting
our
for a while.
money. You know?
Yeah, bro.
Our college debts aren't being paid off. Like, that shit blows my fucking mind. And we just allow it to happen.
That money going to Ukraine. That money going to Israel.
It's crazy.
That money going to Iran.
And do you know how much one Black Hawk costs, bro? I don't know the exact number. It's a fuck ton, though. It's like this crazy fucking money. Crazy amount of money.
More than I'll ever see in my life.
And Lockheed Martin has thousands of them on standby, ready to be bought.
I was looking the other day how much it costs in a day to run a fleet carrier thing in the ocean.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's fucking
Aircraft carriers?
aircraft carriers.
Yeah.
Just for one day, how much it costs, and I mean,
It's an insane amount.
like 40 million. I don't know, some crazy shit. I don't know that I can't remember. I was looking at an article, but a ridiculous fucking amount.
And it's crazy because
We have like 6 of them.
we have this like perception of America being the like literally any war.
Dude,
post World
we're
War
a
II.
fucking militaristic society at this point. Like,
Post World War II. I want you to name one morally good war we won that I can like that didn't have a transactional I guess a transactional thing for us that benefited us
yeah, no, I can't
outside of World War II. And you can argue World War II wasn't, but that was because of the Holocaust. You can say it was a moral war to go into. You know what I mean? Pearl Harbor happened; it made sense. But like realistically, I can't think of the Vietnam War.
Hell no.
Like it's all to plant our seeds of democracy, which means send our companies over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and it's crazy because you can't. This election coming up, I wanted to get into too. Like it's fucked. Who the fuck do I vote for? I don't know.
Voting.
Like,
That's fucking waste of
who are
time, bro.
you leaning towards? If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to tell me. But like, if
To be honest, Trump.
Trump, you want me to tell you why that's wrong?
Why?
Not necessarily that you're wrong, in my opinion. Why I think that's
No, I
dangerous.
like to hear.
Trump was just indicted on all these charges.
Facts.
The biggest scandal since Watergate. And Richard Nixon was a motherfucker too. He was literally a mob guy who
Yeah,
was
he's
a
a bastard.
politician / president. It's crazy. And he stood up in front of the
He was one of
American
the worst.
public after breaking into the Democratic convention and said, "I'm not a crook," even though he's very clearly a fucking crook.
Uh-huh.
The difference is, since he got a slap on the wrist when Ford literally pardoned him, didn't take him to court or nothing, didn't give him charges, he got off scot-free. Trump can look at Hillary Clinton and her emails, and he can quote, say, "This is the worst thing since Watergate." And he uses this over and over again. He was buddy-buddy with Nixon, by the way. Like,
Oh, really?
Nixon wrote him a letter saying, when you decide to run, you'll become president. Like 100%.
Really?
You can find this on Google and shit. Put a picture up when we edit this.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? Like, you'll find it. It's
Uh-huh.
very easy to find. Like, they were buddy-buddy. Like, he was very
When
into...
did Nixon die?
Nixon died in the 90s. I think 94.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that. But Trump is very like this Nixonian president where this indictment doesn't mean shit
It doesn't.
to the American public.
I mean, I barely even know what he's getting indicted for.
He had a bunch of secret classified files and he was just taking them around Mar-a-Lago, had them in the bathroom. Literally, I could go take a shit in Mar-a-Lago, go through classified files. That's how bad it was. And he was taking these files everywhere with him. His lawyer was coming to him saying, "Hey, dude, like, listen, like, if you have these files, please tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's give them back. We can." He's like, "I don't have shit. I don't have nothing.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?" You know what I mean? And his lawyer's like, "Listen, bro. I read through the fucking, like, court files and all that because I'm a fucking nerd and I like shit like that.
Transcript.
And yeah, the transcripts. And he was like, "Listen, bro." He's like, "You need to tell me, like, if you have one single thing." Mind you, he has files and files of this shit.
Yeah.
I'm talking about fucked up. Like, you could have maybe gotten away with taking one or two. You know, like, it would, you know.
When this motherfucker was taking like a whole
he was taking
cabinet,
fucking,
whole rack.
yeah, racks. And he's like, "I don't have shit. I don't know what you're talking about." And they're like, "All right, well, they're coming to search you tomorrow." Like, So he can hire security, his own security, not Secret Service, not the. Like, he literally hired his own security guards in Mar-a-Lago to board his plane, take it to his fucking mansion, and leave it there while they came and searched it. Like, you understand how crazy that is?
Yeah.
That is a federal crime.
And was this while he was president?
This is this is after he was president.
Oh, okay,
he left office with these files.
Oh, okay. I think I remember that.
That is
now.
crazy. And that's a federal fucking crime. And that is allowed. Why? Because Nixon got away with what he did. And he got a slap on his wrist. He's remembered as a crook. He was the messianic Christ who died on the cross, if you will, for corrupt politicians.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's what allowed Trump to be the way he is, and Trump can get away with it. Doesn't mean shit. And you know why I don't want Trump to be president? What I was getting back, why I think it's wrong for him to be president over Biden? Fuck Biden, don't get me wrong. I don't even want to start on that for real.
I mean, I'm not voting anyways.
Yeah, but the thing is, with Trump is, if he gets reelected, which he probably will.
I think he will.
Guess what gets normalized? Corrupt fucking actions like that.
I feel like it's already normalized.
In a sense, it is now, but
saying,
people
though.
Can't do it openly like Trump has and Nixon has. He's
done a lot of wild shit without being
and he hasn't been checked for it. Nobody cares because his supporters are so crazy, and these Republicans just refuse to go.
It's like a cult following.
It's weird, you know. And he also is Nixonian in the fact that he just tells us, the media's lying. Don't believe that shit. Nixon said the same shit.
We shouldn't. I don't like us being forced to pick between these two dudes or who. I don't know.
In my opinion, it is by far the worst candidates I've seen in my lifetime.
Seriously, to me, it's just not worth voting. I don't see. It's not gonna make a difference. I don't think it really matters. At the end of the day, I think the president still it's just a puppet for the higher ups. At the end of the day,
it's like, I don't know. You're stuck in this moral dilemma. Like, am I wrong for that? But I
don't think so.
Not anymore, right? Like, if you'd have told me last election.
I mean, I voted last election. I voted for Biden, and I mean,
I didn't vote.
I regret it now. I regret voting for Biden. I would have regretted voting for Trump. I think I would have regretted either fucking choice.
That's the thing.
That's the fucking position that us Americans are in, and I think they just keep trying to distract us, bro. Like, if you see every day, like, the shit that's on the news and media, like, just such like shit that does not fucking matter.
We're stuck in the middle.
Yeah, and like you either have the people that like truly care and like, you know, want to make a change, and I feel like those people, after a while, they kind of realize it's almost hopeless in a sense, and then you have the people that are so like ignorance is bliss in a sense. They're just so stupid. They're just like, oh, did you see Kim Kardashian? Like, that's just the type of time they're on. That's the type of shit that they fill their minds with, because, you know, to them, as long as they can, you know, get their paycheck at the end of the week, and
that shit doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
They're chilling.
The thing I've noticed within a lot of Trump supporters and Biden supporters, people don't realize the presidents we choose to elect have lasting impacts. Mm-hmm. You know, like these things, like we're seeing. And it's hard to scale a president while they're currently in office, because you don't see their policies and things go into like effect.
Like, I started hating Obama a lot more after,
right? Because in the moment it was like, oh, this motherfucker's great because he can talk his ass off. That
motherfucker.
Oh shit, motherfucker.
He's great at talking to. There's a certain word for it. I forget what it is, but he's great.
He's a great speaker.
Yeah, public speaker.
Great public speaker.
Such
in general.
A good speeches.
And like, I don't see the fucked up shit he did till like these past 2 years or so. You know what I mean? I knew of it.
You saying Trump?
Trump, his lasting impact is going to be the fact that he chose a Republican Supreme Court justice that is extremely, extremely right wing. A lot of things won't change in this company until that dude dies. That's how fucked it is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
who was that?
I think it's who is it? Still recording?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knocked that shit over. Kavanaugh.
Oh, yeah.
The dude who said he was a virgin until he was 24.
Hey, crazy. Did you see that black woman says she's still a virgin?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that shit's crazy. Oh, she's like 54?
Yeah, bro. And then Shannon Sharp and
Ochocinco?
Yeah, they were talking. He's like,
that's a great fucking podcast.
Yeah, I love that duo.
I don't know if you watch it, but I see
occasionally.
Clips.
I see clips.
Yeah, I see clips a lot. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. We're fucked. We're fucked as well. Like we're seeing. I see more and more. This is gonna sound crazy, but I see more and more why the French Revolution happened. They're cutting fucking heads off of high-ranking people every day.
Yeah,
You know
bro.
what I mean? It I I I just find I struggle to find proper words for how I feel about all this because it's so complex and
It just feels like
it's
we're
frustrating.
crabs in a fucking barrel, bro.
Yeah, like what do you do in that? Like, what do you
Like
do?
we're fighting each other, but that's not who we should be fighting.
And another thing I've noticed is people like I'm the Bush administration. You know what I mean? Like we're seeing what they did with Iraq and how fucked it is, and what post 9/11 Americanism, fucking American national, fuck yeah, America, Jack Daniels, Jesus, all that shit is doing now to the outside world. And capitalism is, I guess, helping with that because we live in a free market where I can fund a war and make money off of it. You know, the fact that that's even an avenue, like with insider trading we were talking about. Insider trading, for example, there's a meme amongst financiers and stuff who publicly do stocks and trades and stuff. You know who they look at? Like, you know who they base their moves off of?
Politicians.
Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
they talk about Nancy Pelosi and her husband.
Yeah.
And these people are in private meetings with these big conglomerate companies, and they catch wind of shit before it happens.
They know what's happening.
Before COVID hit, and people didn't understand the full, I guess, impact.
So many people got fucking rich off that shit, bro. At least the 1%.
There's Burr. I forgot his first name. Something Burr. He's the
Bill
Republic.
Burr?
Not Bill Burr. Comedian. Shout out Bill Burr. I love him.
Out.
But what you call it? Burr. He was a Republican senator or congressman of North Carolina. He called his brother-in-law after a meeting on January 20 something. They knew, like, the market crashed February 20th. You know what I mean? Because of COVID, we fully shut down.
Yeah.
He called his brother-in-law. I was like, yo, sell everything. Immediately after he got out of this meeting, he's like, sell everything you can. And after that, he calls his stockbroker, like, yo, sell everything. Like, these dudes, like I told you, Warren Buffett, a fucking guru, fucking master of stocks. He beats the market by 2.5%. Politicians, the average politician, not even a high-ranking one, average politician, because they have access to this, beat the market by 12%. Which is an insane figure.
Insane number.
Warren Buffett's one of the richest men in
you have to think about
human history because he can beat the market by 2.5%.
You have to think the numbers that are involved with these percentages.
Yeah, these percentages, like 0.1% is more money than me and you have ever seen in our life. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's insane amounts of money.
And then this motherfucker's beating the market by 12%, bro.
I mean, pre-COVID, Nancy Pelosi and her husband's net worth was around $106 million, and now they're up to $171 million.
Jesus Christ.
That's a 60% increase. 60%.
And it doesn't even seem like that much. Like,
no, right?
100 million to 170
But then you break
million.
down how much a million is.
Yeah, bro.
171 times? Fuck. You know what I mean? That's lifetime money. And, man, we're fucked. We're fucked. I get more and more depressed. People come up to me and love talking about politics. Oh, you love that shit, don't you? Like, what? No.
I hate that shit.
I hate that motherfucker, bro.
I gotta talk about it.
The only reason why I stay informed on it is because I want to know what the fuck's going on. Really. Like the Israel and Palestine situation, the Iraq war, what happened with Afghanistan, how much money they made off Afghanistan. Like, I want to know these things because I don't want to be fooled because we're all susceptible to propaganda. Because I see propaganda on both sides of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Like, I see these pictures that people post on Instagram, like, this is what injuries look like in Israel versus Palestine. This is a motherfucker with a Band-Aid on his fucking shoulder.
To me, it's like...
And there's a kid with his head blown off. Like, that's propaganda.
Bro, I don't like them, like... To me, it looks like both sides are trying to put on, like, a show, a play to the outside world to prove who's, like, wrong and who's right. It's like, bro, what the fuck?
I will justify the Palestinians doing it to an extent because they're using the Israeli tactic and how Israel has been able to keep them under for 70 years using these tactics. But we live in a new age, Dennis. Information is so readily available. I have TikTok. I can talk to people in Palestine directly through Twitter. I can DM them like, yo, what's going on? Right. You know, I directly can speak to these people now. And that's what the shift in the narrative has come. Because back in 2014, bro, and they were bombing the shit out of Gaza, bro. I'm telling you. Not at this scale, obviously, but pretty fucking bad. Yeah. And I was furious, bro. I felt like I was the only one speaking out about it. People were calling me anti-Semitic at school. I was still in high school talking about this shit. People hated me for that shit. Yeah, back in 2014, everybody hated me for that shit. Believe it or not.
And it's crazy how back then it was so flipped. Like if you
Mhm.
said free Palestine, people would literally say
Oh,
like,
you
"Oh, you
support
hate
terrorists.
Jews?"
Yeah,
Like,
you hate
yeah,
Jews. You support terrorists. Like,
just
bro.
'cause, yeah, I remember that too. And
Yeah.
now it's like a lot different
And
nowadays.
2021 was the turning point because TikTok.
Yeah,
TikTok, you could say a lot of things about TikTok, but
bro.
one thing, it's information at our
Dude,
hands
TikTok is
24/7.
kind of crazy what it's turned into.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to call it, bro. Like the content on there is so freaking varied. Like
Yeah.
you'll have professionals with like 30 years experience breaking down step by step exactly a process that they do that you would have to pay a full course college
Yeah, like
class
$300 an hour type shit. You know what
to
I mean?
learn. Yeah.
Another thing is with TikTok is I remember we had a conversation about this like 2 years ago when they were trying to ban TikTok, and I said the reason why was because a future politician's probably on there using the hard R in the comment section, and the Chinese can use it against them.
100%.
Sure, right? But now I'm starting a little bit to see another side of it where
They want to
information
control
is
the
too
narrative.
available. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
You can only
propaganda.
control the narrative so much
Yeah.
if you don't have control over the media.
Because we used to get our news from
Strictly
newspapers
from
and news
TV channels.
that are all biased and have their own agendas.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore. When a 17-year-old Palestinian girl can tell me that her mother's head was blown off and she identified her by her hair,
Yeah.
like what?
Ask anyone who's under 18 where they get their news from. They're not going to say
No.
TV.
I get my news from Twitter, to be honest with you. I get
kinda
on Twitter.
I look a little everywhere. Like if I'm at work, I throw on a news channel on the side and like kind of keep it in the background. I like listening to there's a website called AP.
Oh, yeah, AP Plus. I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure all the news channels get information from
From
them.
them because they're very unbiased, I would say.
Yeah,
they are.
They're more just like a facts, like
yeah.
because they were one of the first that actually started the research that misfired rocket that hit the hospital because you know how they were saying it was
El Shifa Hospital, and they said
it was Hamas misfired rocket.
Yeah, which makes no sense, but yeah.
But I don't know. They were saying like they were checking the trajectory and like from
The math didn't add up. I remember.
I don't know. Yeah, it was some wild shit.
They said they shot it from the graveyard that was about a quarter mile from there, but mathematically,
it wouldn't make sense.
It wouldn't make sense how it would drop, because a rocket would misfire and drop way sooner than that.
Yeah.
Or way later than that, because it was too close.
Yeah. And there's literally live streams like you can find on YouTube. I'll post a link. There's really like 4 different cameras of places,
different angles. Yeah,
Gaza. You could literally see live. You could see them bombing. Like I'm in my fucking room, heated room. Like you know, got my food chilling, and I have a live stream up of fucking Gaza getting bombed. Bro.
That was so big for one reason, because the Israeli social media and politicians and all, they didn't know what to do. They flipped the narrative so many times within that time frame of what was going on, because we were getting live updates and people were like, wait, that doesn't make sense. I remember one Israeli I guess media person admitted that it was them, then deleted it within seconds, like, oh, it was Gaza. Like they're losing this PR war so bad. They're just so bad. You know why? Because Dennis, the median age of these politicians and shit is about 98 years old, and they don't understand how me and you operate.
Yeah.
And so they think these
we're fucking stupid.
And they think these old propaganda tactics
Some
that worked in the 70s
are so bad.
They're bad, bro. They don't understand. Like shit that worked in the 70s isn't gonna work on me and you. We've seen it too much.
Like you seen them post them bad Israeli soldiers.
Yeah, that one video, dude, is like, it's propaganda.
Hey,
it's propaganda. You know what I mean?
Fast.
It is, because it's like, bro,
why are you showing me this? Bro?
You're forcing me to think with my dick now, because you know my brain ain't gonna fucking compute what you're telling me.
Get me on a plane now.
Yeah, like, I'll join the IDF
I'm
for some pussy.
bad.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's like, man, but yeah, man, I don't know. I think we're fucked. Be honest, that's all I can sum up. Like,
it's a crazy scenario.
I've lost all hope in humanity in every aspect of. I don't know.
I've been lost faith in humanity, but
I mean,
you could talk about this shit all day, honestly.
Yeah, it's just fucked. But man, I don't know. I get too frustrated and I get flustered and I can't fucking. But one thing I will say for people that are pro Palestine, I guess, the oppressed, watch the way you speak to people.
You gotta be careful.
You are representing a side that is marginally, disenfranchised and isn't necessarily supported
represented well
by people within power. Dennis, if you were pro-Israel and staunch pro-Israel, and I come at you angrily, justifiably so angry, you know, like what the fuck's wrong with you, angry? You shut me out. You shut me out completely. You know what I mean? It's just,
Oh wow,
you know what I mean? Like information is no longer getting to you now because I'm so angry with you.
Yeah.
Because you're like, why the fuck's he angry with me? It's just an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's a fucking wrong opinion that all facts back up, you're completely wrong. But they don't see it that way because I don't want to be wrong. I got my information from people I trust. Fuck you.
It seems from my point of view, it seems like a lot of them are very like conceited in a way, or like just full of themselves, like so sure of themselves, you know.
Yeah.
And like I was telling you earlier, like I see a lot of these social media posts of like people like, oh, wartime, or like you know, like
These
war
TikToks.
days. It's like, bro, you're
so sheltered.
There's no difference in your day-to-day life. What do you mean? Like you have no clue how some of these people truly fucking feel, like that pure sheer terror of thinking like, when is a bomb gonna fucking come down and strike right in fucking front of me? They don't have that, bro. Like that's not. Dude, think about Israel has a fucking the Iron Dome, bro. That shit, is that what it's called?
Yeah, the Iron Dome.
Bro, ain't nothing fucking hitting Israel, bro. No. Like, no, I promise you.
Nothing
bro.
effective, at least.
Yeah, nothing like how it's hitting Palestine. No. That's for sure. Yeah. Palestine ain't got no Iron Dome, bro. I don't know if people know the living conditions for people in Palestine. I mean, these people are gated up, bro.
Yeah.
These people don't wake up and just go do it. Like, they have to wake up and go through
It's an open-air prison, bro.
Yeah, it's literally it's the biggest open-air prison.
25 miles. I want you to think, Dennis, you're only allowed to go within 25 miles your whole life.
We should have specified this. This is an entire fenced-in area. Like, I
with
feel like a lot of people don't know.
2.3 million people.
I feel like a lot of people don't actually realize that these people aren't free people. These people are being controlled.
I want you to imagine the entire population of 2.3 million people stuck together like that.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me there's terrorists within them so I can bomb the shit out of them. Like,
I can tell you right now, in Harrisonburg, in our population of 40,000 without our university here, I promise you, there's probably a few terrorists here.
Oh, probably. Shit.
Should we call up fucking DC and tell them to bomb our
bomb
whole
the shit
out
of it? Hey, kill my mom while you're at it. Like what, bro?
Like, I don't give a fuck if my neighbor's a terrorist. Don't fucking bomb his house.
I'm right here, motherfucker. You gonna pay for this shit?
Get a unit in formation and goddamn bust his door down, bro. Like, don't bomb the place.
There's a saying among the Palestinians, like, you don't know when your last meal in Gaza will be. And there was a video I watched. It actually made me cry. And I don't cry easily, bro. And I fucking bawled, bro. Like, it fucked me up really bad because it was like a 6 or 7 year old, like no older than 8 years old, a little kid. And it says, I want to be a martyr because there's no more bread. I want to die and eat some bread. Like, fuck, holy bro. Fuck. That's a child. Like, why is a child thinking like that? That's how much murder and death. And I lost somebody young. You know, I lost my mother when I was young. And it forced me to understand the concept of death fairly early.
Yeah, you learn about death
and
quickly.
Way sooner than I should have. You know what I mean? And I think about these kids. Not only do they know people that died, they're watching people die. I didn't watch my mother die. I know she died. I know she died a horrific death, but they're watching it. And they're saying, I saw another little kid who's no older than 11 saying, I carried a headless body with my own hands.
It's fucked.
And he's screaming. He's like, I carried a head. He's in shock. He doesn't know what the fuck to do. He's like, I carried a headless body. And I also...
He's probably barely there, honestly.
Yeah, he's just in so much shock. And he's covered in rubble. Covered in rubble and dust. And he's trying to figure shit out. He's like, what the fuck just happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I mean, that picture I seen you post a couple of days ago of the cycle of... I mean, think about this kid we're talking about, you know, carried a headless body. He's thinking about death at this early age. Think about how much that affects him, and like, bro, he's gonna grow up hating the people that did this to him.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. That's how everyone would fucking
like. Obviously, you can't support terrorists, but in a sense, it's kind of hard for me not to understand why they become what they become.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy for me on the outside looking in to say, what the fuck's wrong with them?
Mm-hmm.
But if I was sitting here, Dennis, me and you were sitting here, an airstrike hits us right now. Your whole family's upstairs and they're murdered. Are you just going to be like, oh, you know, collateral damage is nothing?
I'm gonna
Like,
start
no.
plotting the whole
That's what I'm
goddamn thing. How
saying.
the fuck? I'm
Like quoting Biden,
Instantly.
it's like 15 9/11s are about to happen, motherfucker. Like,
it's personal now. Bro.
yeah, like, no, it's illogical, and there needs to be more, I guess, conversation about that. There isn't any, you know.
Yeah.
Like
And
terrorists.
that's a big reason. It's like that's why you not trying to kill all these innocent people, bro.
Mhm.
You're gonna create even more problems in the
Yeah.
future. That's just how.
You're digging your own grave in a sense, you
Yeah.
know, and I've talked about asymmetric warfare on here. You know what I mean? It's so one-sided, and you can't particularly such a big country like the United States. Like I said, Bush couldn't go after the Afghanis in the cave.
Mm-hmm.
It's unreasonable. You don't know where the fuck they're at.
Yeah. Same thing with the Japanese in the holes that they dug in the tunnels. Like we didn't know where the fuck. That's why we got fucked so hard. Like these peeking out. You know.
Yeah.
We went into their territory expecting to come out victorious. Like bro, nah. Like
you mean
have to
Vietnam
think of
or
the
the
mind of them.
Japanese?
Like you come into my territory, like you're gonna learn.
You're gonna
You know
learn.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's how it is. And the thing is, like, how do I identify a terrorist? They're not uniformed soldiers.
Yeah, there's no
They're not,
fucking flag above them that says terrorists. Like,
and that's what bothers me about the human shields conversation. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
that's such an easy out to give somebody. You know, like, oh, they're human shields. Like, I can kill your whole family, but shouldn't have been at their house. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Like,
why would you guys be in your house? Like, how dare you? You referencing earlier the study I posted by Harvard that I was talking about on my story. I was talking about how
I think
people in war-torn countries are more religious. Because they deal with trauma and they have to deal with the idea of death, and it's very hard to understand the concept of death if you know you're going to die soon, or there's a possibility you'll die soon,
or if you can understand the reason, like why.
Yeah, and there might be people who use that as a coping mechanism just to cope, and there might be people who use that like, look, my whole family just got killed, and technically this cleric just told me like it's not against my religion and God supports it. Matter of fact, does that not remove all guilt that would be involved? You'd be just like, fuck it. Like that. I guess the extremism varies, but it's very easy for us just to say, oh, it's the religion. These people are just fucking barbarians who don't know better. You know, their book tells them to do this. Like, I'm not going to sit here. I hate this phrase that Muslims use a lot too, that Islam is a religion of peace. It's not. It is not a pacifistic religion. It's not. It allows war within certain contexts. It doesn't mean go out in the street and just kill people, but within context, you're allowed to go to war. There's such thing called justified war. But if you want to talk about a peaceful religion, maybe Jainism, that's completely pacifistic. Yeah, and when I tell people, no, my religion's a religion of peace, and they quote these books, these verses in the Quran that says, kill them wherever you find them, not understanding the context behind it, is talking about the polytheistic Meccans who literally were killing Muslims and torturing them. You know, like it doesn't, it's really.
To me, I always thought Muslims were, like if you were a Muslim, you were the most devoted out of any religion. I always feel like Muslim people, like if I meet someone that says they're Muslim, like most of the time I'm gonna think that they pray 5 times a day. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. But if I meet someone who says like, hey, I'm Christian, to me that doesn't really mean anything.
The thing is with Christianity and modern religions outside of Islam is that it's not taken within the literal sense. You know what I mean? With Islam, you have this. There's no such thing as change.
Yeah, there's no bending the rules.
They live by those rules, and there's no fucking questions about it.
There's a lot of flexibility, at least nowadays.
You
I don't speak from experience, but that's what it seems.
You got to think when you tell people this, like you tell people that somebody died for my sins. Doesn't matter if I sin anymore then? You know what I mean? In a sense, like sin doesn't really matter then, you know? Because Jesus died for Hitler's sins. Hitler believed in Jesus. What does that mean? That's a logical fallacy I have, which Christianity, nothing against it. I understand it. It's more of a spiritual, like, experienced religion, whereas Islam is very logical and not necessarily logical. I don't want to say that because that puts Christianity in a negative light, and that's not what I mean.
I think they're both very fucking similar. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, they are.
I think all the religions are extremely similar.
The thing about Islam is they do not allow any form of human worship. There's no form of it's straight monotheism in its purest form.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is one God.
Yeah.
And if you say anything else, you are not a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
You don't represent us, nothing. Like it's to the point,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
Yeah, and because Muslims don't believe in Jesus Christ, or they don't believe that Jesus was the Son of God.
no, they believe he's the Messiah. They believe
yeah.
he was plotted on to be murdered. There's no belief that he was killed or, you know, it's, and I don't know if do you want to get into this? You want me to go in on Christianity a little bit or not? You think I should? It's not necessarily going in on Christianity as a faith. It's more so this reconstruction of Christianity in the modern sense.
Go ahead.
It's the thing about Christianity is it has been, I guess, reconstructed in a way that was more suitable for a Roman society as a whole. When Constantine became Christian, he very much included a lot of Roman ritualism and, I guess, figures within Christianity, because I can't just sit here and be like, all right, we're all changing religions, you know what I mean, and expect people to be open. And Christianity was growing, don't get me wrong. It was a very much growing religion at the time, but it would be hard to get everybody else to convert if it's very different from what they already believe. And Paul was a Jewish mystic before he was, you know who Paul is, right?
Paul Revere?
Paul the apostle or whatever the fuck he was. He Is
this a religious figure or is this a...
It's a religious figure in Christianity. He's one of the big... He wrote Corinthians. He wrote Romans. He wrote a lot of things. Christianity. He had this belief... Well, he says he never met Jesus. He had this belief that he saw Jesus in a vision in the third heaven. In the third heaven, Jesus came to him. He was an unbeliever at the time. Jesus came to him and spread his message of the Trinity, and Paul used this to spread Christianity throughout the world. Without Paul, modern Christianity wouldn't be at the level it is at right now. Okay. So modern Christians can thank Paul for that. But Paul did misconstrue a lot of things within Christianity to apply to his Judaism, to apply to this mysticism that he believed in. He was very much an esoteric Jew who he believed in very specific things. The story of Enoch, even in the Quran, it says there's one verse in the Quran and the Bible that I've seen together because I've read both books extensively. It says, we elevated Enoch in the Quran, Idris, to a high above station. So the story of Enoch is he was raised to the third heaven, and that's where he that's where he died. That's where God took his soul, in the third heaven. And
what is the third heaven?
There's 7 layers of heaven. Apparently.
Oh, okay.
There's 7 stages of heaven. And that's where the term 7 heavens came from. I don't know if you've heard that.
Oh, my 7 heavens or something.
Yeah. And basically, Enoch was killed. I'm not killed. He died in the 7th heaven.
The third.
The third heaven, sorry. Third heaven. And this was an old Jewish mystic belief. It's not within the Bible that he was killed in the third heaven. I mean, died in the third heaven. There's nothing to prove that. It's the Book of Enoch. It's a whole separate entity that's not a part of the canonical Bibles. He used this story, removed Enoch from it, introduced himself into it, and God was the figure. Jesus was the figure of God. And he applied that within. He didn't speak of this experience till 14 years later. So it happened. And then 14 years later, he begins talking about it. What I think happens, he went to Jerusalem. This is just me guessing. I'm not an expert on this. He went to Jerusalem, heard the teachings of Jesus through the disciples, and basically came up with this. And he spread Christianity throughout. He's originally from Turkey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a Turkish person. He went to Jerusalem years later, and apparently most of the disciples didn't fuck with him like that.
Really?
The 12 disciples did not fuck with him. But there's later accounts that later on Peter convinced all the other disciples that he's actually good. He really did talk to God and all that. But all these accounts are from pro-Paul sources. What can you say? Christianity is weird.
It is. Well, someone was telling me about how the Bible everyone reads nowadays is the King James Bible. But how can you have a holy text that's like a person like it's supposed to for something to be holy, it's like untouched, right? Sacred.
Yeah.
Like how can you have a Bible that's like King James Bible and still it be considered sacred and holy?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
also apparently like King James
The
was
modern, yeah,
like he
it's
was
a
touching kids and shit.
Protestant.
Apparently he was fucking with little kids.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I don't know about
I mean,
the
it might
facts
be
of that.
true. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I
But
don't know.
the modern Bible, the canonical Bible, Matthew, John, Luke, you know what I mean? Those books are very much. They came about in the 10th century through the Catholic Church. They got to decide what was in it and what was out of it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of other books. There's the Gospel of Judas, which I recommend you look into.
This is the thing with Christianity. You know, we come back to like Islam versus Christianity. Is like there's only one fucking Quran.
Yeah.
There ain't no different
There is two. Let me explain something. There was something called the Sana'a Quran found in Yemen. It dates back to between 570 to 650, something like that, or 640.
Okay.
So it was within the time of the Prophet. And the thing was, the Quran never became a one book until the Caliphate of Uthman ibn Affan, the third caliph after the Prophet died. He was a companion of the Prophet. He, I guess, made it because what you got to think about, the Muslim empire was expanding to an extent that we were getting into different areas. It was now an empire. There was different ethnicities, different languages being involved. So in Arabic, the text of Arabic doesn't have the vowels. You know the lines and the E-looking things on the top and the bottom of Arabic?
Yeah.
Arabic letters in the Quran?
Yeah.
That didn't exist. That doesn't exist for Arab speakers.
Really?
Because they know the words and they can pronounce it how they will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now there's different dialects of Arabic. There's different languages. There's Kurds now. There's Pakistanis who speak Urdu. There's how are they supposed to differentiate?
Right.
So Uthman made it's called the Uthmani Quran to this day. Because Uthman made one single Quran. But the Sana'a Quran predates it. But it's no major differences. It's more so pronunciation and word placement. More or less the same thing. You know what I mean? And the Quran is very interesting because English, it's a great book. Don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful book in English. But in Arabic, Arabic's a rich language.
Well, yeah, I want to learn Arabic.
My brother's really interested in learning Arabic. So I'm not good with languages, like learning vowels and grammar, and I'm not good with all that. My brother is though. Like asr, the word asr in Arabic. You know, asr is the afternoon. It stems from the Arabic word for juice, for squeezing juice.
Really?
Asid. You know why? The day is being squeezed out. Like
that makes sense.
It's such a rich language, so it's very hard for me to say the English Quran is very accurate. But it's we have a biased point of view. You know, we come from a Muslim background, so yeah, obviously Christianity is gonna sound ridiculous to us, and I won't not acknowledge that. You know,
but like, did you at a point in your life were you praying 5 times a day? And
I was. Yeah.
I've never been at that point in my life, so.
It's crazy the amount of knowledge I know about Islamic history and the Quran and stuff, and people are surprised by it because I don't really show it. Because I grew up within the mosque. My brother's very religious. I do a lot of my own research on historical accounts of the Quran, and the thing is, I'm more of an allegorical kind of guy. Like I don't take things literally, and I guess some Muslims would say I'm not a Muslim by that account. But I look at the story of Moses and how he went to Pharaoh, and God tells him, go to Pharaoh. He's exceeded all bounds. Innahu tagha. That means he exceeded all bounds. He's done everything wrong. Every aspect of wrongness he's done. This represents an oppressor. And Moses, he tells Moses, this is what I was talking about earlier. Speak to him gently. Speak to him gently so he might hear my signs. So he might hear it. He knows this man who's beyond saving. He's like, speak to him gently. This oppressor, the worst oppressor in human history, according to the Quran. The worst person after Satan, according to Muslim literature. Saying, speak to him gently so that he might hear you. And that's what I was talking about. Like when you speak with anger with somebody, you raise your voice. There's actually modern studies that show the tone in which you speak to people shows how much of an effective orator you are, how effective you are in persuasion. And things like that, like these little lessons, these little gems they drop in the Quran. It's beautiful. Like these are allegories of human history and human nature.
Yeah.
The story of Moses, okay, you can argue it didn't happen because there's no historical record of this. There's no historical record of him splitting the sea in the Exodus, but these are things that happened within human history in a different way, possibly.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These are allegories. These
Yeah,
are
same thing with like the burning bush and shit.
Yeah, you know, like it might have happened. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it didn't, but you know, if I say that, I sound ridiculous to a person who's never heard anything religious.
Yeah.
You know, religious is very much a social construct. It's okay to view it, but it doesn't mean I'm not Muslim.
Like I wouldn't even say I believe in any religion, but I do believe that there is a higher power. I think you need to believe that there is, because I think without that, man.
That's Soren Kierkegaard. He's a philosopher who he accidentally invented existentialism. He calls that the leap of faith. Everything around us is so absurd and ridiculous.
Like absurdism.
Yeah, absurdism. That's my school of thought. You know that he thinks this leap of faith. Abraham took Isaac. He tells a story about Abraham and Isaac and how he goes to sacrifice Isaac, and it's a leap of faith because he's so positive that this thing is so absurd, so ridiculous that God's asking me to do, that God will return Isaac to me in one form or another, even if I follow through with it. That's called the leap of faith. Like, it doesn't make sense. It shouldn't make sense. I shouldn't be even asked to do this. But I trust so much that this is so absurd that God will return him to me in some sense. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm explaining it good.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't really know like exactly what Isaac. I don't know.
That's his son.
That's his son. Yeah.
The son was born miraculously, as you will, because Abraham didn't have any children. And God presented Abraham to him and Sarah in their old age when she was barren and old, and gave him this son as a gift, who they love very much. They had Isaac and Ishmael.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and Isaac. Muslims tend to lean towards Isaac is where Jews and Christians and the Israeli children of Israel come from. Ismail is where the Muslims come from.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? There's two branches that cut off. It's very weird and complicated. Religion. I would love to do a podcast on just religion and where we can break it down. But
yeah, well, I have a lot to learn as far as that goes.
We can do that on the next episode. I'll see what people say in the comments. But we should probably wrap it up. This has been a long one. All right. Well, I want to thank you all for tuning in. This is a very broad and long one, but I think it was
a little
really good
heavy.
information. Yeah, it was a lot. There's just too much going on for us to not talk about.
I mean,
next one we can discuss sports or
light.
religion, or I really want to do one on religion because it's something I want to look in, like become a teacher of. Thank you guys for tuning in to the LowLife podcast.
Y'all take it easy.
Peace.